This is a brief explanation of a possible alternative meaning for imagination as Forrest Fenn uses the term in The Thrill of the Chase, searching for the Forrest Fenn treasure. The dictionary definition of imagination from a Google search is that it is a noun which refers to the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. It also refers to the ability of the mind to be creative or resourceful, and the part of the mind that imagines things. The etymology or the history of the word imagination comes from the Latin word for image. So there is that possibility that in referring to imagination, Forrest Fenn is actually referring readers of The Thrill of the Chase to the images in the book, both the photographs and the drawings. On page 4 of The Thrill of the Chase, the preface, it states, "I tend to use some words that aren't in the dictionary and others that are, I bend a little." So there is the possibility that the word imagination is being used in a different sense, almost as a verb in referring to images as a means of extracting information or understanding or interpretation. The references to imagination are in the chapter Dancing with the Millennium, around page 136, which refers to the bells with references to imagination and knowledge along the lines of imagination is better than knowledge. Before I get to the images that Forrest Fenn may be alluding to, on page 113 of The Thrill of the Chase, the chapter titled Teachers with Ropes, it refers to students touching paintings, and there is a statement in the chapter, "Later I inspected the Gilbert Stuart painting under magnification and found no indication that it had been touched." Also, going to page 130 of the book, which refers to Forrest's autobiography, In the Glass Jar in the Treasure Chest, it refers to the printed text is so small that a magnifying glass is needed to read the words. I think that the reference to the autobiography being printed in tiny writing may be a hint or suggestion that the reader should be using a magnifying glass to examine possibly some of the images in the book. In looking at two images in The Thrill of the Chase, this is on page 28. This is an image I have scanned. It may lack something in resolution, but I think it's clear enough to show what is going on in the images. In particular, this part down here, which refers to BIP, BIP as in Forrest Dog, which is part of the scrapbooks on Dale Neitzel's site, and using screen capture to highlight this a bit better, that's the markings BIP, which will be more prominent if people are using magnifying glasses to examine the image. There's also this marking here of TC, which may stand for treasure chest. There's also another marking here, which could be an E or an L, depending on how you read it. There may also be other markings down here, and there could also be further markings such as that X there, and if you examine further, there might also be other hints or clues which could be important. Going to the image on page 44 of The Thrill of the Chase, zooming in, this is a scan which didn't work out too well because of the wavy lines, but the important part is around this area, around here. In particular, it looks like an S in that part there. The patterns of the brightness or the sunlight there may be of some relevance. The stain down the piece of timber there, the circle or the half circle, which may possibly have some kind of marking inside that. There is also the possibility that there are X's there, there is another X there, and there may also be writing within the markings on these pieces of timber. It is a possibility, but you'll need to work that out for yourself as to whether they are relevant. But again, it may require a magnifying glass to pick up on the details which Forrest is perhaps alluding to. Here's two other images from The Thrill of the Chase which may have markup on them and which you will need a magnifying glass to identify. This is from page 8 of the book. If you zoom in to the left side of Forrest Fenn's face, around this area here, using screen capture, the area around here is where there may be markup. In particular, there's a capital G around that space there, and there's also a squarish shape around there, and there may be further identifying marks up the top there. The scan is probably not of a high enough resolution to show this in the video, so you will need to go back to the book to identify that. This is from page 54 of The Thrill of the Chase. If you zoom into the picture of Skippy, the first thing you will notice, this mark on the forehead looks like it has been added through Photoshop or image editing, but there's also other markings which may be relevant. In particular, this mark up here, using screen capture to show these markings, that is a gold star up the top there. That is a yellow dot, another yellow dot, same there, and same there. That one there may appear more like a star than a dot. However, these are in a black and white image or a monochrome image, and they may have some relevance to the chase and locating the treasure, but the other part of the task is identifying what the meaning of those markings are, how to interpret them, and how they get you closer to the treasure chest. In looking for these markings, you may need to try different types of light. It seems to be under the warm white light rather than the cool white light that these marks, the yellowish colors, seem to appear more prominently, but you will definitely need a magnifying glass to identify those marks. So that may be another way of thinking about imagination as possibly a process or referring to images rather than being creative in its own right. Just a thought. It is up to you to work out whether these ideas have any relevance to locating the treasure or what the meaning of the markings in the images may be. As always, good luck with your search and please stay safe.